everybody. So today in social studies, we're going to reflect on a poem that was read at this week's inauguration. So inauguration means when the new president starts their job. So yesterday, President Biden and Vice President Harris officially started their jobs. And when you do that, you would take an oath on whatever book your religion uses. So in both of their cases, a Bible, that you're going to uphold the Constitution of the United States and do your job well. And it's like a whole big celebration. There's all kinds of events. And they also move into the White House. And also their pets move into the White House. So yesterday, one of the parts of the celebration that I thought was really cool was a poet named Amanda Gorman read a poem. And she's only 22 years old. She's from Los Angeles, so go California. And I wanted to share her poem with you guys today.
Mr. President, Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Americans, and the world. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is hours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny Black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert How could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the West. We will rise from the wind-swept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Here we go. Yeah, so she's super cool. Something really interesting about her is that she actually had a lot of trouble speaking as a child. She didn't learn to talk until she was much older, and it was really hard for her to speak. And she said she especially used to be really scared of speaking in front of big groups of people. So I thought that was pretty awesome that she came such a long way and basically said that poem in front of the whole country. So what we're going to do today is you're going to choose one quote from the poem. So I have 3 suggestions, or if you want, you can look up the words to it and choose your own. But you're going to choose one of these 3 options and write about your thoughts about it. So the 3 choices are: 1, a nation that isn't broken but simply unfinished; 2, we, the successors of a country, in a time where a skinny black girl, descended from slaves and raised by a single mother, can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one; option 2. Or option 3, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. So choose one of those 3, or choose something different, and you're going to write a short paragraph in response to the quote. So vas a escribir un breve párrafo en respuesta a la cita que tú elegiste del poema. And these are just some questions to get you thinking. You don't have to use any of these, it's up to you. But the questions are: how did this quote make you feel? What does this quote make you think about? Do you have a personal connection to this quote? What did you think the author was trying to show us? Do you agree with her point of view? Or why did you choose this quote? So again, just write your own response to it. There's no right or wrong answers. I'm just curious what you all think. Let's start.